Thank you for joining us on The Key Points. And 3 months almost down the line, a bill brought under a certificate of urgency remains hanging. The E-Levy conundrum remains top of mind for government and many Ghanaians. Now, during the week, the Speaker of Parliament, the Right Honourable Speaker Bagbin, engaged with the Council of State and some eminent Ghanaians led by Dr. Mohammed Ibn Chambers, all in an effort to chart a path towards breaking the deadlock in the House over the controversial E-Levy. Now, the other issue is about whether the majority can actually marshal the numbers to push the bill through. But though Professor Raymond Atuguba threw out a crucial food for thought in reference to the E-Levy, let's hear him.
Ghanaians are smart and empathetic and will gladly support the E-Levy if this is done right. If we do not support the E-Levy, government will simply tax something else, such as fuel, and they will additionally steal for central government from the District Assembly's Common Fund, the GET Fund, the National Health Insurance Levy, the Road Fund. They are already doing it. We must compel the government to acknowledge the current economic mess, they mostly, and previous governments to a lesser extent. Ghana's economic problems started before COVID-19. On balance, COVID-19 was a good thing for Africa and Ghana.
The government, in its wisdom, has proposed the passage of the E-Levy, to bring in more revenue to build the road infrastructure of our country for all of us. So government is looking forward to the passage of the E-Levy that will bring in greater revenue, that will be securitized and then used to raise a bond, if possible. I'm answering the question, so listen to me. I am answering the question. To raise a bond to build the road sector infrastructure. So government's direction and government policy is to bring in a better form of correction, because the toll revenue is built in the proposed E-Levy. So that's what government is determined to ensure that is brought to bear.
So that was the Minister for Roads, Kwesi Amoako-Attah, there, and he was responding to questions put in Parliament about whether or what amounts we had lost as a result of not collecting road tolls, which he unilaterally stopped when the budget was read last year. Well, he says we've not lost any money, but he also went on to reveal a very critical issue many of us had been asking about what would happen with the E-Levy if it's passed. He indicated that there could be the securitization of the E-Levy in order to secure loans to push forward infrastructure. And since then, there have been questions raised on social media, and many have been chattering about what next, because government continues to push through its charm offensive on the E-Levy. So they were in the Volta region yesterday, and as many of you would have watched, it certainly wasn't easy. They faced a lot of tough questions about the bill, about the levy, and questions about accountability, which is why some Ghanaians are refusing to agree to pay it. So we'll delve deep into that. Our guest this morning, the Honourable Murtala Mohammed, who is the MP for Tamas Central. He's also a former Deputy Minister of Information. He was also Deputy Minister for Trade. We have Professor David Abdullahi, Senior Advisor, Africa Parliamentarians Network Against Corruption, joining us as well. And we'll have our government representative, Dr. Stephen Amwa, the MP for Nshaiso and a member of the Finance Committee, joining us later. But I'll start first with our guests in studio. So first, let me start with Professor Abdullahi. Welcome. Now, the E-Levy conundrum, there's been some pressure being put on the speaker. The members of the Council of State visited him, and so also we understand impromptu some eminent Ghanaians led by Dr. Mohammed Ibn Chambers. First, is it fair that this pressure is being put on the speaker to find a path so that the E-Levy can be passed?
No, I don't think it is fair. I think, from my point of view, the strategy of the finance minister and his team is wrong. What they did is they put the horse before the cart. This is not the time to now go around trying to do town hall meetings to get buy-in from, Ghanaians and others. You should have done that much earlier before you even brought the bill to Parliament, or it shouldn't be part of the budget. So the pressure on the Speaker, in my opinion, is misplaced.
But the town halls gives governments an opportunity to address critical issues. Maybe it's not too late to do that, and they've done a fair job going around. They went to the Volta region. I think many of us wondered if they would go there, knowing that it's the stronghold of the NDC.
No, I think it is fine for them to do that, but I'm saying strategy-wise, they should have done it much earlier.
Okay.
And that's what you do. And then you actually engage, the NDC members in Parliament before you even bring it to the floor. And it will give you that opportunity to have a feel or a sense of what is happening out there for you to prepare yourself. Now, this is, trying to close the barn after the horse are bolted.
Horse has bolted.
So, good luck to them, but I don't think it is fair to put the pressure on the
speaker. Can the speaker do anything about the E-Levy?
Well, he'll do his best, but I think Ghanaians have already made it very clear. 91% of the population have made it very clear that they are not interested in the E-Levy. And I think the majority leader mentioned a few days ago that they never expected such resistance. They knew that there was going to be resistance, but they never expected such resistance. So my feel is, I think there was a point when the VAT was going to be introduced by the NDC when they were in power. When they faced resistance, they withdrew, went back and came back again and got it passed. So I think let's see what would come out of these town hall meetings and whether there will still be that appetite for the kind of E-Levy.
Honorable Murtala Mohammed, tell us, what's the NDC's position? Is it still an opposition to the E-Levy? Is there an opportunity for engagement? Because if government is engaging Ghanaians in the various regions, it presupposes that you are on that list as well.
Well, if I let me say good morning to you and good morning to Prof. It's an honor sharing a platform with your professor. And of course, good morning to the good people of Tamale Central. If you permit me, I would use the opportunity to congratulate the BEC, students, those who sat for the BEC exam. The results are out. And most importantly, the candidates for Tamale Central. The information I'm picking is that they have done very, very well this time around, considering the fact that the information I got from the Metro Education Director that the past 10 years, the results in Tamale Central have been abysmally bad as compared to the other districts. So for which I had to organize free extra classes for the BEC students last year for almost 6 months. I got the teachers, we had them in 4 centers, and I paid the teachers. And I think that what we did has yielded these dividends that I'm picking. Hopefully, we will continue with the classes and also continue with at least weekend classes for the first year SHS students so that we tutelate them till they write the final exams. And I am very thankful to the teachers who participated in the classes, and it is a victory for all of us. We hope we will continue with this.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
For an MP who has a double master's degree on his way to get a PhD, I guess you should be proud then if your constituents are also chatting a path.
I'm really elated. I just financed the education of 10 medical science students in Tamale Central. I started and I've paid their fees in full, and I'm going to continue, inshallah, as long as I remain the MP for Tamale Central until they finish with the course. And next year, we'll finance another 10 medical science students, and then we'll pay the fees of the 10 we have paid. So next year the numbers are going to be like 20, because continuing students 10 and then another 10. So those who are willing to assist, they can come and assist, because for me, one way of getting doctors within Tamale and its environs is something that we all need to look up to. If you go to the district, you don't find doctors. A lot of them want to move, down south and other places. And I told them that the assistance was to appeal to their consciences. At the end of the course, at least they should sacrifice some few years to work within the region. If you want to go ahead, I'm not bonding them. At least sacrifice some few years to work within the region. And I think that they will be more than willing to serve even in the district hospitals where we don't have, health professionals.
Okay.
In the matter of E-Levy, let me start by saying that they can bath the E-Levy with all the perfumes in Arabia. We will reject it. It is not something that the NDC is rejecting. It's something that the entirety of the people of this country are against. Every tax instrument must not be seen to be regressive. A tax instrument so accepted must be fair, must be progressive, and the burden for that tax regime must be on the rich than the poor. The NDC as a social democratic party and a party that is leftist and Lenin know, and everybody knows, that parties with that ideological positions anchored their economic development on the basis of taxation. Because through taxation, that you'll be able to tax the rich for the good of the poor, that you'll be able to correct the inequalities that exist in our society. So let me make it very clear. The NDC has never been against taxation. We have supported several tax regimes introduced by this government since 2017, and we will continue to do so. The reason why we are against this particular tax, that it defies all the logic and decency that comes with any form of taxes that should ensure equality, redistribution of wealth, and social equity. And it is not the NDC's position. When we had the post-budget review, every year after budget is presented, you do what you call the post-budget workshop. The purpose for the post-budget workshop is for government and parliament to get experts to come and take you through the policy decisions of government for which you have approved or the budget was presented. All the experts who were brought, some professors from University of Ghana Business School, from University for Development Studies, Cape Coast, UST, and you had even Professor Ali Nachan, who is a tax expert. Anybody who did law would have read at least his book. I read his book at the law school. They all raised serious concerns about this E-Levy, and they proposed that even the percentage was just unacceptable. These were the concerns, all of them. As a matter of fact, multimedia group is not a friend to the NDC. If the multimedia group should have friends, then it should be the NPP. They have conducted a survey, and over 90% of the people of this country says they are against the E-Levy. Central University, a university that made their space available for Dr. Baumia to engage in the voodoo economics he engaged in prior to the 2016 elections. They conducted a survey, and the survey is very clear. Over 90% of the people of this country says they are against the E-Levy. ISE, everybody knows the capacity of ISE in terms of their policy analysis and researches that they conduct. They all raise issues about this. Show me one single civil society organization that has not raised issues with regards to this. So let me make it very clear. It is not an NDC opposition. It is the opposition of the generality of the people of this country. Now, another thing that is for me worrying with regards to these town hall meetings is nothing, and I think that's causing financial loss to the state. When you submit a bill to Parliament, that bill ceases to be a property or a document of the executive. It is now the property of the legislative arm. The Gombes have a proverb. You left your door ajar when it was raining until your room is flooded with water, and then you don't close the door. What they are engaged in is nothing but dissipating the resources of this state.
Is it wrong to engage?
Absolutely wrong. Absolutely. And I'll tell you why. What
is your preference?
The engagement should have been done.
Okay.
Even before, I'm coming. The engagement should have been done even before this thing is presented. And in any case, when they went to have that engagement, members of parliament who belong to the NDC, none of them was invited. To
the various regions?
None of them, yes.
All the regions?
Yes, as far as I'm concerned. And I will tell you, I went to my constituency, and the people of Tamale Central can bear witness to this. I met several youth groups and women groups to put to them this E-Levy. And unanimously, including MPP youth groups, they are against the E-Levy because of the burden that the E-Levy will bring to them. Already, we're in a quagmire, a deep hole. This government is not looking at how we get out of that hole. They are digging the more. So I'm saying that, having sent it there, now Parliament is now the property of Parliament. Any decision that will be taken in the matter of the E-Levy will be taken by Parliament. You don't go about spending state money, recklessly. In fact, when they went to Koforidua, they went with 32 Land Cruisers. 32 Land Cruisers. And all the Land Cruisers, the engines were on for 4 hours.
I don't have any way of verifying that, Honorable Murtala.
Several media houses. But
I think the main point is...
These are my words. These are not your words or TV3. I'm saying that several media houses report. They went there, 32 Land Cruisers. This attempt and this action is a mockery to the people of this country. So I'm saying that, why, in any case, if you want to do that, when we went on recess, our leadership informed us after we came on recess. They were not contacted by anybody in MPP, not even MPP leadership in Parliament. And we were thinking that when we go on recess, it was an opportunity for them to get us engaged. So Gifa, it is not an NDC opposition.
Okay,
it's the opposition of everybody. And I want to ask you sincerely, honestly, are you in support of the E-Levy? Be honest with me and your viewing public. Be very honest. No. You are not in support. No. Fantastic, for your sincerity. Now, if you drive your car...
But there are reasons for that, and some of it is questions about accountability over funding that has been previously expended, where many have questioned what the funds have been used for, the huge debt that we continue to bear, the over 200 million over the last 5 years, not seeing what some of it has been used for. Those are the reasons why I or many others may be opposed to the E-Levy. But let's take a clip of some of the views from yesterday from the Volta region event.
E-Levy, which is like E-Levy more or less has become the panacea to solving...
No, he hasn't said that.
I'm not saying he said so.
He hasn't said it's a panacea.
I'm saying...
But I'm just interrupting you. Sorry. I'm just interrupting you because, you see, for some of these things, the moment we don't correct it, somebody takes it home. That is the suggestion we are making.
The very reason why I said this is that per every government agency, it's like E-Levy is based on that. For example, our brother Pius talked about the youth, National Youth Authority. Without E-Levy, maybe his authority cannot function well.
He didn't say that, by the way, but you go ahead.
He
didn't say that, but you go ahead.
Well, Honorable Peter made us to understand that E-Levy will help in facilitating railway to hold through to Hawkware and all that.
E-Levy to tackle the road fund. So with the E-Levy that is coming to solve almost all the other problems.
No, the E-Levy is not coming to solve almost all the problems. I need to be clear on that.
Okay, so the E-Levy...
Nobody has said that. So let's not put that in people's minds. It becomes difficult for people to consume it.
You're welcome back. So those were the confrontations there, where some of the questioners felt that recent communication by various government officials point to the E-Levy as a panacea for a majority of the problems we are facing now. Information Minister Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah sought to emphasize that that's not the official government communication, even though the E-Levy may have been used by others to say that this or that, but he sought to emphasize that that is not what has been said officially by government. Let's welcome Dr. Stephen Amwa, who is a member of the Finance Committee in Parliament, MP for Nshayaso, joining us. Good morning to you, Dr. Amwa. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Okay.
It's a pleasure being here.
So now you can have your turn. So yesterday's E-Levy meeting was certainly not easy for government. Lots of tough questions. And then yesterday on the floor of Parliament, the Minister for Roads indicated that one of the thinking would be to securitize the funds or the revenue from the E-Levy. I dare say if that had happened before the forum, it would have been a question that had been asked. Isn't this a challenging time still for government on its, effort to get Ghanaians to support the E-Levy?
Thank you very much. My regards to our viewers this morning. I think it's a challenging time for Ghanaians, not government. We need to look at that aspect. And just before then, you were asked whether you support, you say no. You are very candid, and I think I like straightforward people. Thank you for that. And one of the reasons you gave, even though it's very, very legitimate, sometimes I wonder what we want to do to ourselves as a country. Yes, previous funds. If that is the case, I don't think my brothers, when they were in government between 2014 and 2016, taxes they increased or added, 26, they shouldn't have done that. Because even with them, we have empirical evidence of courts of competent jurisdiction jailing their appointees because of corruption. So, the most important thing I agree with you is how funds are being utilized. That can affect people. But if let me ask you, when in our history that we are passing a bill, a levy, tax, that Ghanaians are happy with? When? We are creating impression as if it is only this time that Ghanaians are not happy with a particular tax. Our jurisdiction, we always, when NDC they were passing VAT, what happened? When MPP government was passing top tax, what happened? Don't let us sit down and because of propaganda and mischief, some people will sit somewhere, they come out with something, then it goes down the line, then it becomes like position of the government. Just as people are saying that, it looks like E-Levy is the panacea of. Who said that?
But is it not true
Who said
that it has been said that without E-Levy, we can't have road infrastructure done? The roads minister said that.
How does government fund roads?
I beg your pardon, let me finish. Is it not true that it was said that without E-Levy, we cannot pay road contractors? We owe road contractors more than what? 12 billion cedis. Yet E-Levy projections are 7 billion. How will we pay road contractors?
Please, you don't take statement out of this literal meaning of statement. Respectfully, it's wrong.
Okay.
Because what it means is that government fund projects and programs, two things, either revenue generation as a result of tax collection or debt finance as a result of borrowing. And now we all know, because of the COVID, GDP did not grow well, which is not government fault. You can do whatever politics with it. God is watching you and me. It doesn't matter how you say it. It's not about lies. So we have issues with our debt to GDP, and we've been advised to be careful with how we are borrowing, which I agree. So government should find a way of taking taxes. And everywhere in the world, roads in England, in China, Ivory Coast, everywhere, they use taxes. So if somebody says this, why are we in a situation where every single statement, because of propaganda from NDC, they will push it because the person said this? Let's be honest. How are we going to fund roads? Nobody is saying that it's only E-Levy that is going to fund roads. That is not true. This same government we are chastising today, 2017, go and read the budget. 16 tax components, either reduced or entirely extracted. You know. Tax, not all of them. You mentioned 11 in Parliament. Let's sometimes be honest with God, Kakra.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say is that...
Let me ask. Okay, you finish that part.
So, Jifa, nobody is saying that E-Levy will solve all our problems. But E-Levy is a form of tax. And taxes are needed to fund government expenditure obligations. This, even respectfully, honest, God-fearing person, class 1 person, we agree to this, apart from propaganda.
Okay, so
you
now,
understand what I'm saying?
So now
it's not you.
No, so
but you see people blow this out, and let it seem like this is what government
I need to ask you: have you not been following the narrative in the public domain? I mean, push the NDC aside as a political party.
So they are causing it.
No,
and I don't blame them. People would have caused it. That's my opinion. How can you say no? How can you say no?
Surveys have been done.
What surveys? Jifa, when have we conducted? So when have we introduced new tax
that people have agreed?
Okay. Let's be honest.
But
let me ask you when.
But at least I've been in this job for 25 years, so I've been here long enough. So please. I can ask that. When also have we had introduction of taxes that have been overwhelmingly opposed. Apart from that, apart from that,
what is overwhelmingly? What's tell me what statistical? Look, everybody doesn't want to pay tax.
Yes, I agree with that.
So don't tell me overwhelmingly.
Oh,
all
there
the
is
time.
data. I can pull it. I'll pull it up.
Okay, the previous data. Do you have the previous data?
I'll pull it up for you.
So you have
shortly.
the previous data.
I have a survey that had been done.
I'm saying
akin
that,
to yes.
When we're passing VAT, did you do the survey?
But I think the VAT, everyone knows that.
I'm saying that. Listen, I'm not saying you are lying, but you should have told me when we're doing the talk tax, when we're doing the VAT, when we are doing the E-Levy. You conducted the same survey with the same methodology, the same situation, population size, sample size, and these are the pieces of evidence. That's what I'm saying. You didn't do that. So you cannot give relative terms. Look, Ghana here, nobody wants to pay tax. It's a fact. Even paying your own child's school fees is a problem. So don't let us talk as if that it is only this time people are finding this unpopular. It is not true. Okay. They are all communist inferior tactics works. It is propaganda. You can laugh, but at the end of the day, who suffers?
Okay, so
all of us suffer.
I asked a question to Professor Abdullahi earlier, and also to Honorable Murtala Mohammed about what seems to be pressure being brought on the speaker, because there was an attempt to get the NDC to soften their stance. Hence, there was a meeting with former flag bearer John Mahama. That didn't end up too well. And now it seems the speaker is being prevailed upon to at least help find a way to push this through, because it can't be a bill that's under a certificate of urgency that now sits in Parliament for 3 months. Do you think that is right?
So now we should accept the fact that, or we should draw the inference that former President Mahama is behind the failure. No. It's got nothing to do with the one I'm speaking.
Okay, all right.
Your own statement said they were trying to convince former President Mahama
to get his minority group to step down.
So he has some sort of leverage, very influential. One can say that probably his voice can let them help pass the bill or otherwise. So he's behind it. He has the tenacity, of course. I mean, he's their leader. So now taxes are being prevented by the opposition and by former President Mahama. And of course, why don't they want us to pass?
What about the speaker?
Maybe I'm coming. Why don't they want us to pass? Didn't the NDC guys say on record that when we pass the E-Levy, we will be unpopular and we'll lose the elections?
Who said that?
Speaker said it. Speaker.
He said what?
Yes, he said.
NDC said what? Am I talking for speaker? I'm
talking for. Are you the moderator?
But you are responding to me. If you knew I'm not the moderator, why
Dr. Abua, please proceed.
I thought you would tell him that please stop what you are doing.
Please proceed.
Okay, continue.
Can you tell him to stop?
Honorable Murtala, please just
Thank you so very
please
much.
Proceed.
Thank you. Because if I start, you won't stop
please
me.
Proceed.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that why is the NDC not allowing her to pass? If you think this will make me unpopular and then you win elections, why? Jifa, it is not a joke. Let's be very honest with God and man. Our fiscal space is messed up, and you can't blame the government.
You didn't address my issue about the pressure being brought on the speaker.
Pressure from who?
Oh, the Council of State came to visit him. Obviously, they won't say that we are coming because of E-Levy, but there's a stalemate in Parliament. Eminent Ghanaians visited the speaker. There's a stalemate.
So your statement is based on assumption.
Oh, so these are inferences.
No, I know. Oh, I agree. But you cannot conclude that it was the E-Levy alone that was the reason they went there to talk to about.
Oh, sure.
I don't know. So how can
how can
we sit here and discuss assumptions?
But that's the biggest issue. You don't see that?
It's interesting in this country of ours. God, have mercy on us.
Okay, so what does the outlook look like for you? Then I'll have to go to Dr.
Outlook as in what?
The E-Levy, getting it passed. Can the majority marshal the numbers to get it passed? Because it looks like you are losing numbers as well.
Madam, if we pass this E-Levy and we're able to generate taxes this time of the day in the world and in Ghana, it will help Ghanaians. Even the NDC themselves will help their constituencies. If they say they won't let us pass, the very time that we are all complaining that we are borrowing, And the borrowing as a result of the fact that private sector sacked over 40,000 Ghanaians. Their payees were not collected again by government. Corporate taxes went down. We have shortfalls of over 11 billion. And we've been advised against borrowing. And you say you don't want us to take taxes. Am I the only person going to suffer? All of us are going to suffer. So let's sit down and let people who do not even understand respectfully the management of fiscal spaces and macroeconomics in this sense argue, put impediments in our way, use other social media bloggers to think this is the worst thing to do, and let's stay in. Okay, we are all in.
Okay, final question.
The fact is, the situation in which we find ourselves in today, we need to generate revenue and taxes. This is the option of the government. Leave us to do it. If it's not good, 2024, you vote against us. But if you say you let us exercise our economic policy discretion, our exclusive right to, we think that will save this country, and you say you won't let us do it because you've been able to succeed confusing and deceiving the public and behaving like, oh, MPP is not having mercy. Meanwhile, we have implemented most of the pro-poor policy. We have the poor persons in our society. So it will be in the interest of Ghanaians to support us to pass. If we are not able to change the situation we find ourselves in, which is not only in Ghana, US 7%, UK from 1 to 4%, prices of goods and services, ships coming to Ghana, things they charge 4,000, now they charge 12,000. It is not Kufuadu's doing. We had to close offices, shops, restaurants, market activities. Our GDP was not growing. If all this situation, you say we shouldn't take taxes, somebody has malaria,
I don't think the public says don't take taxes. Public says don't take E-Levy.
So what, is E-Levy not a tax?
Yes, but the point I'm making is...
So, okay, the public should give her taxes to take.
Okay, so...
Please, so how can you go to your doctor, the doctor diagnoses your situation, this is what I think we say, you say, me, I don't want to.
Okay, but...
You've given us your mandate.
But Dr. Amwa, let me ask, and I'll come to our guests. It's just that we need to address these issues. Dr. Amwa, there was a sunset clause on the energy sector levies. That has been extended by another 13 years.
So what has that? What has that? So what?
Oh, no,
people Ghanaians shouldn't take taxes.
No, but if Ghanaians knew that they were going to end paying in 2020, and you've extended it by another 13 years, and it's because it's been securitized, then Ghanaians will be unhappy because they continue to pay.
Unhappy like what?
They continue to pay more for.
Do you know that Ghana, our effective tax rate is negative? Do you know that our revenue as a percentage of GDP is just around 11% against 18-20 within even the developing economies, and against over 30% within the. Do you know all this? Are you aware that within the sub-Saharan African, we are one of the countries whose tax generation is so poor? Do you know that? About 26 against 32, 36. Please, don't let us use this wishy-washy propaganda by the public and those who do not understand these things and let them champion our cause of discussions. Don't let us do that. But if you think this is what we want to do, democracy, go ahead. Right now, the work you are doing, I can't do the way you're doing it because that's your area. If you not allow people who understand these things and they want to speak honestly, not because they are MPP, NDC, and to the glory of God and change this country, and we will depend on propaganda and fake extracts and whatever from passages and comprehensions and confuse Ghanaians and ordinary people to oppose government policies. Let's all be in it.
Okay. Let's
all be in it.
Let me come to Doctor.
Let's all be in it.
Let me come to Professor.
You said that people don't see what they are doing with the taxes. After this, I've sent to you wrote. I'll give you my own money with your team to go and check the length of when this should give this and compare. It's not about propaganda. I'm telling you, I'll give you. This is what maybe communication on the part of our government we still need to work on. But I'll give you, Jifa, and I'll pay for your team to go run check infrastructure, not the propaganda people are talking about. Okay. It's not.
Thank you. Let me take Professor Abdullahi. Professor Abdullahi.
It's not about laughing or ridiculing somebody.
There's a concern that because of the heat generated by, whether people don't want to pay E-Levy, criticism of the government, the economic challenges that we are in, Dr. Atuguba also pointed to the fact that the government needs to be honest with us. Maybe these town halls are an opportunity for them to do that. Do you get a sense that they've tried to be honest with us and convince us that things are difficult, so we need to be supportive?
Jifa, thank you very much. I'm sure
the government has said that over and over that things are difficult.
Dr. Amor,
Dr. Amor,
you know
hold on. Thank you.
I'm sure Dr. Amor would agree with me that no Ghanaian is against taxes. I think for me, what I mentioned much earlier is that the strategy that the finance minister and his team used was not the right strategy.
What would be a better strategy now? Because I guess we've moved on from...
Yes, I understand. But you need to put into perspective that there was supposed to be an earlier engagement with, stakeholders.
But respectfully,
wait. Let me finish.
Dr. Amor, don't interrupt because you complained and I told him to stop.
When you're speaking, I came into
it's so clear.
No, but you said I should, and I told you to stop.
When did I talk?
Talking.
Oh,
You asked me to tell him to stop.
Because you spoke to me first.
Dr. Amor, please.
As soon as I open my mouth, you come on me.
Stop. Please stop.
Oh.
I asked Honorable Murtala to stop. He did. And you had a long session. Yes.
He
and you had a long session.
Throughout, he was laughing.
So please stop. Allow Professor Abdullahi to make his point. You will have your chance to do so.
I hear.
Thank you.
But the viewers are watching.
No, viewers are watching. They know what has been done.
So they are watching all of us.
Please stop. You will have your chance.
I wasn't interjecting. I was just asking a very.
You have your chance. Please hold on. Yes, Professor Abdullahi.
And they see how harsh you're on me than you're on him.
What is very important is that at the end of the day, even though they saw that they never engaged the stakeholders, they are now doing that, which is fine because a lot of issues will come up that would give them the opportunity of introspection. And if they have to then go forward, they should also need to engage the opposition or the minority in parliament, so that at the end of the day, as Dr. Amor is saying, it's a Ghana development project. So if it is so, it is important that whatever they glean from the stakeholder engagement, that it will be part of the decisions moving forward.
In terms of looking ahead, I mean, many are concerned about the delays.
Yes.
Because government had projected a 7 billion revenue. Now this hasn't been passed at all. What does that do for our finances? It's one of the reasons that Dr. Tuguba says we're in a vulnerable environment now.
Yes.
And he's been bashed significantly for saying that the risk that poses to our democracy is that someone could very well get up and try to, do something that is unacceptable, which is what had led to the coup conversations.
Yes. Jifa, you are right. If the last time I was here, I talked about the fact that the governments need to undertake debt management because our debt to GDP ratio is really very high. So that means that resources are limited now to be able to run the country, which is important. I think at the end of the day, cool heads should reign, whereby the decision will be made in such a way that both members of parliament, the opposition, the minority and the majority, as well as Ghanaians who see it fit. But then there should be a consensus of how much probably, if they have to charge, should charge. Because I don't think the 1.7 that was previously put forward by the Minister of Finance is cast in stone, because I'm hearing that there is this idea that they may go back to 1.5.
That is the threshold for the for the levy.
Yes. But is 1.5 the final threshold? Is that what Ghanaians want? I think all those things should be what they will glean from meeting with the people, as well as engaging the minority.
Do you think there's any hope with the minority? Because I don't get a sense that the minority is going to back down. And I think particularly since the roads minister has now revealed to all of us that there are plans to securitize, it doesn't look like the minority will back that.
Well, I would look at it from the point where the minority is complaining that the majority or the government is trying to find ways to reduce its numbers because it's a hung parliament, whereby I think in my readings where
the Honorable Atuforsen has court cases, the Honorable James Quayson,
and the minority believes that it's a way of trying to reduce their numbers so that.
But the majority also has issues with numbers. We have Sarah Dwasafo, who is not going to be present. We understand potentially for another month. We understand that the chieftaincy minister too has been unavailable as well.
Yes.
So it's on both sides.
Yes. Well, but that tells you why there is a need for consensus building, and consensus building is And I think the majority realizes that whether they like it or not, they would have to engage the minority. And that is what is lacking in our democracy. However, I think it's good, because at the end of the day, we are beginning to realize that when you have a hung parliament like this in Ghana, and this for the first time in our history, it is bringing out, the idea that, when the majority used to, when MPP used to have a super majority between 2017 to 2020, they could, push their policies through without any strong debate or any strong, opposition. So, but now we're also learning, and I think in a way it will come out better. It will enhance our democracy. But I'm not a politician. I'm an academic, and I analyze things, and I'm saying that whatever it is, at the end of the day, they must sit down and talk. They say in the northern part of Ghana that your teeth and your tongue live in the same buccal cavity, but from time to time your teeth will bite your tongue, but they work together to be able for you to have food, nourish your body. I think my hope is that despite all, we are all Ghanaians. That's the only country that we have. And at the end of the day, we should be able to sit around the table, agree to disagree, and agree to agree on certain basics that will move us forward. Because, politics is, it's fleeting. You're not going to be in power forever, and no one is going to live forever. So we should make sure that we leave legacies. We should make sure that whatever we do, it should be to leave a legacy for Ghana, the youth, and the people, and for us to be respected. When you live here and you carry a Ghanaian passport, they don't say you are from America. No, they say you are a Ghanaian. And I think that is what is important. Okay. And I hope that our
the two sides can address that. Yes, Honorable Murtala, I will ask you any question. I saw that you wrote a number of things you wanted to address.
Well, so frankly, listening to my brother, I can't but agree with Cicero when he said that politics was a country idiot.
No, please, we
it's
cannot
not about
use...
him. I'm quoting Cicero. I'm not saying him.
But I don't...
No, please, I didn't speak Dagbani.
Well,
I don't have
I'm saying that Cicero says that politics was a country idiot. To be very honest, the arrogance with which he communicated, questioning the intelligence of everybody except himself, telling the people who do not even know, who don't appreciate some of these things, engage in communication just to do propaganda. How more intelligent are you than any other person who communicated on this? But you see,
your face. Somebody is arrogant.
Dr. Kwame Nkrumah.
Please stop. You have your chance.
Dr. Kwame Nkrumah described the Buzia Dankwa tradition, and these are not my words. That they are people with narrow intellectual and political horizons, but they always see themselves as the leading stars. Every single individual in this country, whether NDC or MPP, whether a politician or not a politician, educated or not educated, has the constitutional and democratic space to communicate on any policy issue. So don't think that nobody has the right to engage in the communication of a policy that you brought to Parliament except you. Get it very, very clearly. And in any case, how do we engage people who have demonstrated this morass of arrogance? How can we engage such people? I just indicated here that even when we went on recess, the expectation of the NDC was that the leadership of the MPP in Parliament would reach out to us. They never did. They never did. They never gave a jot of us being engaged.
Nothing stops the minority from also reaching out.
Please. Look, when you indicated to him that majority of the people of this country are against it, he said, what empirical evidence? Multimedia conducted a survey. Central University conducted a survey. Show me one single civil society organization that is against it. And another absolutely falsehood, a statement which was made, that show me one single tax that the people of this country have been satisfied with. Look, the communication service tax. When the MPP and the President Kufuor was introducing it, the NDC was against it. Many people in this country were against it. When the government then said they were going to use it to take care of creating jobs under youth employment, everybody accepted it. So it is absolutely not true that we have always been against, tax regimes that have been introduced. And he knows too well, as a member of the Finance Committee, there have been a lot of tax issues and waivers that we have agreed in Parliament, just in this Parliament, and approved. In any case, why do they always rush into using COVID as a justification? The 2022 budget, this budget, Minister of Health spent 32 million Ghana cedis drinking tea. 32 million Ghana cedis. The Minister of Finance is telling us in this budget that give me 54 million Ghana cedis of the COVID funds, I want to establish a new bank. Nobody is against taxes. And I started by saying that parties that are leftists and leaning, like the NDC, Social Democratic Party, we anchored our economic development and progress on the basis of taxation. So it is not true that the people of this country are against taxes. The people of this country are against taxes that are repressive, against taxes that exert more pressure on the poor than the rich. That is what the people of this country are against. The people of this country are refusing to be taxed when you cannot account for taxes that you have taken. Now, on this basis of they engage in infrastructure development than the NDC, that is a blatant lie. You don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to finance anybody to go anywhere. Get out of this studio. The Rich Hospital is not far from you. The Circle Interchange is not far from you. The Legon Medical Center is not far from you. Show us one single hospital that you put up. Show us. Or you assume that the people of this country are a bunch of idiots. Tell me one single thing you did. One. And people can call. We had regional hospitals. We had massive infrastructure development. And then you want to know the roads that the NDC built. There is no any road infrastructure that is longer than the road between Kintampo to Paga, which was done by Rawlings, including the Tamale Town roads, including the Bolga Town roads. You need to have some time to read about some of the things the NDC did. So please, whether the NDC did anything or we didn't, the people of this country do not pay their taxes to NDC. The only group of people who pay our taxes to is this government. Now, if you tell me that because of economic challenges that we are going through, and therefore you need to pay this regressive tax, yet the same government is spending $45,000 an hour to travel. When we have fleet, we have a presidential jet available. The same government that is telling us to tighten our belts, they don't even have belt hooks. The same government that is telling us that we are going through challenges, yet the government is demanding that give me more people to work within the presidency. The same government that is telling us that times are hard is demanding that increase the budget allocation for the presidency to about 2 billion Ghana cedis or more. The same government. That is what the people of this country are against. The post-budget review, myself and you were all present. Tell me one single spokesperson who spoke, who took us through the policy statement of government, who didn't have problems with the E-Levy. Yeah, every single one of them.
Murtala, I need to ask, there's a view that the minority's position, apart from how Ghanaians feel, is creating a mood in the country where you put the democracy we've built at risk. And so there's been a whole concern about potential coup because of
the position
of views that generate heat.
I mean, that is the crust. I mean, the insults that have been rained on the people of this country by my honorable friend this morning. He said that, look, you are deceiving the people.
The fact that he said that we may not understand how to deal with fiscal space is not
He said that
insult.
we may not. He said that we don't even understand, that we engage in propaganda. He made those statements and said that the people, you said it.
Is that what I said?
Massa.
You come to
you, even if you.
Yes, so Honorable Murtala, the question, and the president took chance to address this whole issue about the risk to our democracy, the potential for a coup, because of all the heat that has emerged following the opposition to the E-Levy. Isn't that something we should be worried about then, such that the minority also has a role to play in cooling the temperatures, helping us find a path to end this?
Jifa, I don't think he would deny he didn't use the word communist inferior tactics.
Yes.
That is absolutely derogatory. If you really appreciate what communist inferior tactics is all about in a democracy. But the point I'm making is that every position we each take are positions that resonate with the people of this country. I indicated to you that in my constituency, I met several groups, women groups, youth groups, including MPP youth groups. And they all, with unison, said they are against the E-Levy. So the 137 members of parliament of the NDC in parliament, the position we have taken is the position that resonates with our constituents. In any case, you have the majority chief whip, my good friend Honorable Anu Dampre, who granted interview when when the Honorable Bagbin, went for medical, attention, he said that Bagbin's actions were frustrating government approval of the E-Levy and virtually said it was deliberate. Honorable Bagbin came back. He's in Parliament. Why are they not tabling the E-Levy? Why are they not tabling the E-Levy? Honorable Bagbin is there. Why are you not tabling it? In fact, it was not in the business statement last week. It is not in last 2 weeks. It was not in the business statement last week. And I tell you that this week it is not in the business statement. So who are you going to blame? If you have demonstrated incompetence and your inability to get your people into the chamber, why do you blame the NDC and that it is the NDC that is doing that? He stopped short by saying that it's President Mahama who is encouraging the NDC to reject this. And I've told you, multimedia group are not friends to the NDC. He's still questioning the capacity and the survey that they have also done. So we are ready. We have a 137. You have 137 with the independent who agrees to sit with you in voting. It is your responsibility to marshal your numbers into Parliament, to have your E-Levy pass. You are not able to do this. People are not against taxes. And he knows that there have been several taxes and waivers that have been approved without any argument in Parliament. We are saying that this tax regime is regressive, it is unreasonable, it exerts more pressure on the poor than the rich. And I'll give you a classical example. Jifa, myself and he were members of Parliament. At least we earn a decent salary. There is a teacher out there, or some of your cameramen, who I know that a lot of the media houses, they don't even pay them well. The cameraman or the teacher or the carpenter managed to buy a small car with which he picks his kids to school. That carpenter or that teacher drove the car to the pump to buy fuel. Myself and my friend, we drive our Land Cruisers to go buy fuel. Then we buy fuel of 500 Ghana cedis. They give you 500 Ghana cedis worth of fuel. Is that not the case? The teacher also comes to buy the same 500. Then I decide, or he decides to pay cash, pay 500, get your 500 worth of fuel, boom, you move. The teacher decides to pay through Momo. He buys 500, he pays 500 and pays tax. Is this questionable? Is that the kind of tax regime we are talking about? That is the point. Okay. Look, in all the challenges that people have raised, and with this charade of town hall meetings they are engaging at the expense of the state, withdraw it. Do that stakeholder engagement and then come back. That was what happened in the matter of VAT.
Okay, so I'll let you stop there. Let me read some text messages and then I'll let Honorable Amwa come in. This one says, so where is Dr. Bawumia and why is he not doing anything about the ECD, which is fast depreciating and about to break the 8? Well, I think the CD has really gone bad. That's from Stephen from Kwabenya. This one from Alaji Haruna from Ashaiman. Ghana's government's handling of the E-Levy is so bad that they are now spending taxpayers' money organizing these town hall meetings, which will not yield results. This one from Prince Henry in Koforidua. Will the passage of the E-Levy help the government increase the allowances for national service personnel? Because the last time national service personnel allowances were increased from 350 to 559 was in 2016. Gariba from Tamale. May I know from Professor Abdullahi whether he's come to a research that comes to the conclusion that 91% of Ghanaians are against the E-Levy? May I know from Honorable Mohammed which NPP youth group in Tamale is against the E-Levy, as he has mentioned in his introductory
against it or he's
comments.
in support of it.
So Gariba, Honorable Murtala is asking, are you against or for the E-Levy? So send us your answer and I'll read it. This one from Alasan in Tamale says, Honorable Amwa should cool down and stop and speak rather to the issue and should not be upset. Force can't win unless consensus is built. And I have some of your messages also on Twitter, and this one says government should consider curtailing wastage in the system by avoiding corruption and misappropriation of funds, according to the Auditor General's report. And there are also concerns about monies that have been allegedly given to the MP for Dom Kwabenya, Sarah Adjoa Safo. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. Thanks very much for staying with us here on The Key Points. I'm Jifa Bampo, and some of you have been sending your messages through. We'll read some of them. So now let me come back to the Honorable Stephen Amwa on these issues. So now one of the concerns is that because of all these heat, there's a concern about a risk to our democracy, the potential risk of coups, the potential risk.
I also have to respond to your thing.
Sure, you can. Okay,
just as you give to
okay, go ahead and respond.
I think
Dr. Abdullahi.
Yes, sir.
Professor Abdullahi.
Respectfully, you said something that I wanted to raise issue, and you first stopped me. You said that we should have done prior engagements, yes. Which to me, I agree. Yes. It makes sense. Yes. But my question was, when had we, as a people, done prior consultation before passing or implementing a bill of this nature? I don't think we do that. I'm not saying it's not good. I'm not saying it's not good. Yes. But I don't think along the stream of managing the fiscal policies and the space of this country, we normally engage people before. Where I agree is looking at our seemingly balanced parliament, we should have probably, prior to that, engaged the minority brothers extensively. That one I agree. Yes. But I don't think normally when we are passing taxes, we engage the entire country. That's one. Two, you said that, oh, maybe Ghanaians, do they really want 1.5? I think we are implementing a fiscal policy based on the challenges we're having, not based on what Ghanaians want us to pay. And we need to get that clear. Because Ghanaians, and that's why I said that somebody is trying to misconstrue about it. I said that, and I even cited Jifa, that I can't do her work. The point I'm making is that there are areas that if you don't have requisite expertise and you want to comment on, you end up deceiving people. And I even said that Jifa can't even do Jifa's work. I never said I know everything and that people don't know. I was talking about those who do not have requisite expertise in this area and they are going about commenting. That's what I said. So anybody trying to use idiocy and other things, but the person might have been suffering from unconscious incompetence.
That's the second.
And displaying codology.
Honorable Murtala.
Can I finish? So I never said I know everything. I can't go and talk extensively on the camera jobs you are doing because it's not my field.
I'm conscious.
But we live in a country that, because of politics and hatred, people always want to veer into areas they don't even have expertise to talk about.
But Honorable Amwa, anything about money is of concern to people.
Yes.
Anything that involves people's incomes and how they live their lives matters. So they will comment on it.
100%.
If a government takes actions on behalf of all of us, borrows money, and people ask, what have you used the money for? Yesterday, there were people at La General Hospital rolling on the floor because the hospital was demolished and there's been no construction.
What you are saying, this is not what I mean. What you are saying is right, but that's not what I mean. How can I say people shouldn't comment? But I'm saying that people should not behave like they have authority over these areas and mislead people. That's what I'm talking about. You can complain, you can make your comment, but what I'm saying is, if there's an issue to do with probably the buccal cavity of somebody, I am not a medical practitioner. I can complain that, oh, it has to be solved, or it has to be this. But I can't talk as if I have solution to it. That's what I'm saying. And I think it's different from what you're talking about.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that people should speak to issues that they know from their heart. They have understanding of this, they have the knowledge, they have the expertise. And they do that without MPP and DC.
Okay, so
I agree to some extent.
Honorable Murtala referenced the post-budget workshop you attended. Did the experts whom you spoke to support the E-Levy?
I don't know.
You weren't at the event?
No, he was there. I was with him.
You weren't there?
I'm saying I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You weren't there or you don't know?
I really don't know. And I'm done with my comment on this. So I've resolved my time. You can pass it on.
Okay, no, so I was asking you about the concerns that because of all the heat that had been generated, there's concern that because there's potential risk to our democracy, there could be coups or there was and so the president has been addressing that.
Those who are talking about coup, let me ask you, they cite normally two issues, the economy, and sometimes they say that maybe some other people are justice is not prevailing. Jifa, economic performance indicators are many. about 80% of them that we took over, they are better than we took over. It is a fact. Is the inflationary rate the same as we took over? No. Policy rate? No. T-bills? No. Even GDP? No. Talking about T-bills, reserve? No. Talking about debt to GDP? Yes. It's a problem now. And the GDP did not grow because our economy, our productivity had been impaired because of COVID, which slowed down our market activities. This is a fact. So somebody has to tell you that today but for over 100,000 young ones would have stayed home, and now they're having college or secondary education. Today that in Parliament I was there, that I was told, and it's written, it's there, it's in the hands, about 100,000 teachers have been employed under this. And for about 4 years, because of policy credibility, they were home. Today, they should be cool. What are we talking about? What has school to go to do with this?
So
where are we driving Ghana to?
Okay, so
why?
you
because
mentioned
of
something.
Hatred, because somebody's if it is insecurity, me sitting here, I only drove, justice. I only drove, I followed a convoy in Parliament. I was arrested and put before a court. Court of competent jurisdiction, me as MP. Honorable Esiama, go and ask him this year. Abronye, which I disagree with maybe what he said, because I think our leaders must be respected. He's my brother.
Must be responsible in their comments. Okay.
No, our leaders must be respected. I cannot.
How was he disrespected?
Oh, he disrespected and said things about former President Mahama.
Okay, I wanted to understand.
You understand what I'm saying? Just as other people insult Nanado or say something that they don't really have material evidence. I don't know whether he has. I haven't approached him to find out. Abronya was arrested and put before court. So how can somebody say, as I'm talking in my colleague NDC brother, is supposed to go to court? Has he gone? So if somebody wants to...
Honorable Bois.
No, the one...
he went.
No.
Jechi Kweson.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if he went, but you know the process he went through. But I'm saying that if somebody wants to base this on justice and the economy, my sister, it is something unthinkable.
But is it? I've been
pointed. What has school got to do with this?
Okay, but I've been pointed to.
No, what has school got to do with this?
So, in talking about the issues you raised about the economy,
I'm coming. The year 2000, our debt to GDP rose over 100%. In fact, between the year 2008 and 2016, if it is percentage increase in debt portfolio, it was over 1,000%. From 9.2 to 120.3 billion. Go and calculate.
Okay, but I'm not familiar with those figures. The figures I'm familiar with is that during the NDC era, we had a debt to GDP ratio of 68%. And currently, our debt to GDP ratio has hit...
that is after we had rebase.
Fair.
Because before rebase, it was over 75.
Fine.
But when we rebase, it came down.
Okay, fine. But you have rebased, and the figure now is over 80%.
I am saying that, no, it's not over.
The CD.
It's not over 80.
The CD,
it's over 80.
as of 2016, when Mahama left government, was 3.8.
Yes.
Which one? No, 4.2.
No,
4.2.
No, I have been quoted. I have seen.
No, we can check.
I beg your pardon, sir.
Oh,
let me just
tell you.
Okay, let me share the.
Okay, 4.2.
Let's all
okay, so even let me
5. Let's say 5.
At the beginning of I beg your pardon. Allow me. Let me reference. Please let me reference the table. As of 2017. No, but let me ask.
You allow him to flow.
No, he's not part of this conversation.
I'm saying that when he was talking, you allow him to flow.
No, but I just want to
chance
flow. So you flow. Let me ask, please. Honorable Motala. No, Honorable Motala. So in January 2017, the exchange rate in January 2017 was 3.59. Yes. Today, it is 6.91 or more than 7. How do you justify this and say that the economy is doing well? This severe CD depreciation. Inflation has gone up to 13%. It's the highest. 13. Yes.
And what did we take over?
You had single digits for quite a while. But now
what we took over from NDC. Because you're doing comparison. We took over 15.4.
That's not true.
So, hey, Jifa, I thought you had done that as well.
I don't want to interrupt.
You're doing reference point analysis. Trend analysis. So the inflation you are quoting at 13, I agree. What did we take over?
But we are not bothered about the NDC.
But you are
not in office.
When it comes to interest, CD depreciation, you are comparing that to NDC. When it came to inflation, you say we are not comparing.
No, I didn't even compare. I just said since 2017
I'm saying that you are saying that they left about 3 point something. And I was arguing with that.
So I said leave it.
No. I even came back to read it. Okay. And now you are quoting inflation. And I'm saying that what did we also take over from them? That one you stated.
Okay.
Then you are saying that now we don't have to compare. Hey, if I won't speak again, respectfully, I will not. I will not speak again. Maybe you've forgotten what you are doing, but when you go and watch, one parameter you compare. Another parameter, you say we won't compare.
No, but the point I'm just trying to make to
Jesus
you.
Christ.
No, I said forget about what happened before 2016.
I agree, but I'm saying that.
I said forget about that.
I agree.
Between 2017, you have been in office for 5 years.
Respectfully,
this is the CD.
I'm saying that respectfully. When it got to the CD, you did that. We took over this.
No, I said forget about that. That one I said leave it.
Our
forget
debt to GDP, they are times 60. And then you talk about inflation 13. I'm saying that the inflation, what was the figure?
Okay.
Before we came, you said
so,
that one.
Okay, so fine. You said that it was 15.
15.5.
So you say
when you are quoting the inflation, I want you to check this.
So the point I'm just trying to make to you is that over the last 5 years, things seem to have worsened. That is all.
Over 5 years, it's not true. Things started getting bad when the COVID came in. Let's be honest.
Is it only about COVID?
It's not only, but it's a fact that if you don't go to work, if you stay home, government are paying people who don't go to work, market closed, restaurant closed, your GDP will not grow. Ask any professor on this earth. That if market, if I'm lying, if market is not working, restaurants are closed, whatever, will your GDP grow?
I think, look,
yes.
Dr. Moore.
Yes.
The fact that GDP has affected Ghana is not Ghana alone, it's around the world.
Exactly.
However, what I want to say is that one of the challenges we have in this country is exactly what is happening. If we don't speak to each other.
Then let me finish. Wait. I get your point, but let me finish my time.
You let him finish. He was helping your conversation.
So, madam, what I'm trying to say this morning is that about 80% of the indicators, you're a great woman in media practitioner. Go to, fine, you can laugh, but I'm showing you respect.
I smile.
Please go to
now you have to get license to smile.
Go to Bank of Ghana. Go to all these statutory bodies. Get that comparison I'm talking about. The comparison I'm talking about. But even if inflationary rate and all these figures are doing bad, the call for and the caution of coup, where is it from? Where has it gotten to? Where? Why should we talk about coup? Somebody left GDP growth about 3.2, 3.4. When somebody was, the interest rate was about 37% over 30. Now it's about 21.19. Go and check.
Excluding yes, oil. It's true. It's 20.
No. So all these things, why should somebody say that the coup, what has coup got to do? Who has been arrested and is NDC and MPP man not arrested? I used myself. God is my witness. I only followed a convoy. Apart from that, I never did anything wrong. My case is in court. So why are people talking about coup? Coup from where?
Okay, so
madam, this country we live in, if there should be coup, all of us will suffer. Nobody should think that if there's a coup, maybe it will affect the government, party in government, maybe it will jeopardize this, it will neutralize government, this and that. Coup, don't even dream of. Don't. And nobody knows the preparation of another person. So people shouldn't think they will sit there and heap scorn on the potential of other people to put very defensive mechanisms to protect their lives and fundamentally and their relatives and friends. So people should not, because nobody knows the other person. I mean, that is why no matter what I speak, I'm careful and I respect people. But what I'm trying to say is that let us make sure, I'm ending with this, whatever I'm saying here, whatever I do, apart from judgment on earth, God will deal with me, whether I'm right or wrong, and deal with everyone.
Professor, Prof was making a point before. Yes. So you were indicating that because there isn't enough discussion, that is why we find ourselves in the difficulty. But the economics of our country, it's the buck stops with the government in office. We can't hang that round the opposition's neck or round the minority's neck.
Yes, I agree with you. But I'm saying that at the end of the day, the refusal to talk to each other in a way that I don't have to agree with you, but you have to listen to me. And at the end of the day, we do it in a very conducive and civil manner. To me, it's what is lacking. That is why we are in this conundrum we are in with the E-Levy. Now, I also think that moving forward.
Prof, sorry.
No, it's okay. No, it doesn't matter. I also think moving forward, what is very important is that whether it is the NDC that comes to power or the NPP, whatever you are going to do, we are a developing nation. We're not America. We're not some of these developed countries. You need to educate and take the people along with you. Mm-hmm. And I think that has been the challenge we have. You know, Dr. Moore, you said, you know, never in this country when you are passing policies that you go and
engage taxes.
Taxes, yes. Yes, I agree with you. But that is what a government that you should do. But you even say you are a caring government. A caring government should go one step further.
Did they say that?
They are listening.
That cliche.
Oh, Honorable Murtala.
That's not the point I want to make. The point I want to make is that until we as Africans and as Ghanaians speak to each other, I don't have to like you. I don't have to, you know, but we must respect each other in such a way that we can communicate. Communication is very important.
But Professor Abdullah, much as I agree with the communication and the fact that the minority and the majority sides and the government need to find a middle ground, there are questions the government must answer. For instance, presidential travel. Why must the president's travel cost the kind of numbers we've been seeing recently when we have a presidential jet? There was a question asked at the E-Levy forum yesterday that we must burden share. If we are burden sharing, government must also demonstrate that. Honorable Murtala referenced additional recruitments at the Office of Government Machinery. All these things don't give confidence to citizens that the government truly cares. That I think is
from the presidency their side of the story.
They don't have any side.
It's good you find out respectfully.
Please tell me.
Not that I know, I don't work there, but what I'm saying is that it's fair. Maybe Honorable is speaking the truth, or maybe it's not so.
This is the second time.
So yeah, but at least that's why you are moderating all of us. Okay. So maybe your outfit would have.
What about the travel? Am I lying?
I'm not saying you're lying. Even Brian, I'm not saying you're lying. The travel, I can't say you are right or wrong, because I don't have the information. But what I'm saying is that if somebody makes a statement about presidency, and because of the work you do, before you also agree or comment on that, at least go for A, B. Then when you're speaking, you talk. Because he is saying he's in opposition. What about his line?
It's in the budget.
No, what about his line?
Oh, no.
And two, the recruitment, is it for what?
It's in the budget.
Are there additional
2022 budget
tax or whatever to be done? Do we need more labor force or whatever? Have you found out for justification? I think sometimes, I don't know.
Can I answer the question? As a matter of fact.
No, I'm asking. I'm saying that next time, not you. Your position, definitely, I cannot take it.
It's not my position.
I'm not saying you are lying. I can't say that. But I'm saying that.
Do you deny that the extra funding for Office of Government Machinery is in the budget?
Over 2 billion.
Extra funding?
Yes, please.
Over 2 billion.
Over 2 billion.
So what is wrong about that?
There is everything wrong.
Have we found out? I'm not saying have we found out why we need extra funding?
If you are telling
why it's unnecessary?
Dr. Amwa, you see,
it's your work to also approve the presidency to find out that presidency, who is this, or finance
Dr.
ministry,
Amwa,
why additional this? Is there any justification?
Dr. Amwa, what I'm raising is that if the government seems to be expending more, and citizens are under burden, we've seen a lot of strike action.
Seems to be employing about 100,000 teachers in addition. That one we didn't talk about it.
Oh, you mentioned it.
To be providing free education
source
at the was said in Parliament.
I said which 100,000? About source. Tell us from where.
What's the source?
Did you engage 100,000 teachers this year?
Minister.
This year.
What is this year?
But which year?
What
are you talking of the
so you see.
So what I'm saying is that Jifa, it's just advice to the whole Ghana, the media practitioners. Once you hear one side, do well to go.
That's why you are here.
But it's not everything. I can't speak to Jubilee House issues while I'm here when I don't know it's a topic we are discussing.
So
the reason why
you don't support it when you also
the reason why
it's in the budget.
So once it's in the budget, it's wrong.
As a matter of fact, he is a member of the finance committee.
It's in the budget.
As a matter of fact,
you see, that's
my brother. You are a member of the finance committee. and you looked at all this cost, the budget, everything, the committee responsibility is it. You were the first people who were abreast with this issue before even the plenary.
But you know, it's not presidency.
Hold on.
Office of Government Machinery.
Hold on.
A lot of institutions come under. You know that.
Oh, I'm coming.
So it's not for the presidency.
I beg you. Can I finish? I beg you. Jifa, the people of this country, the ordinary man walking on the street, and those who are watching us, perhaps some of them have not even taken breakfast. They are not interested in these economic jargons. When we sit here and these MPP, they are interested in real economics. The ordinary man is interested in how much he was paying for transfer from Medina to ministries and how much he is paying now. The ordinary man is interested in finding out. Can I finish, please? Fuel was even
over $100.
Please allow him to finish. I'll let you also respond, Dr.
Fuel has reached $140 under the NDC if you do not know. So I'm saying that when they ask you, the issue is just in what is in there. And in any case, Jifa, when we talk, how much is the CD now? How much was it? As a matter of fact, COVID, and that is what I don't even want to hear. When you want to use COVID as a justification, as if Ghana was the only country that was affected with COVID. As a matter of fact, in the West African sub-region, none of our neighbors went to the IMF for $3 billion. None. None of them went to the World Bank and got $450 million plus. Government lied to the people of this country. They got $100 million. The World Bank exposed you that it was $450 million. As a matter of fact, none of them went to the EU and got a grant of $86 million. None of them dipped their hands into the Infrastructure Development Fund and all manner of funds. Now, when you tell me that we are where we are because of the COVID, yet you spend 32 million Ghana cedis of the COVID fund drinking tea.
But that cannot be.
What did they use it for? What did they use it for?
So you can ask what did they use it for?
They said
use it for drinking tea.
Please, when you are in difficult challenges, you need to be cutting your cost. What kind of workshops and conferences that you spend 32 million? In any case, if you tell me that yes, we are so devastated because of COVID, the Minister of Finance in this budget is telling the people of this country, pay E-Levy, but I need 54 million Ghana cedis to establish another bank. Does it even make sense? If the money is your personal money, would you want to engage in it in the manner this government is engaged in it? You have a president who travels, and he is comfortable to travel with a luxurious, private jet. When you raise issue, they say the security. When we demanded to know how much it cost the president to travel, you had the Minister for Interior who told us it wasn't his responsibility. You have the Minister for National Security who came and said, oh, that is not my responsibility. You have the Minister of Finance who came and said, it is not my responsibility. The United States government and all civilized world, democratically elected governments, the people, the citizens know how much it costs the president to travel. Honorable Okujeto was not interested in knowing who the president traveled and what he did when he traveled. He was simply interested in knowing how much the taxpayers' money that you spend. That money is our money. The money is not your money. So you owe us a responsibility in a democracy to tell us how much you spend. Look, it will be out of order for me to demand to know which arms deal did the president enter, enter with any other president or anywhere when he travels. It will be unfair for me to know who did the president go, who did he sleep in his room with. That is absolutely unethical. But I have a duty and a responsibility to ask questions that resonates with the people of this country. How much did you spend? This one you simply cannot tell us. If you want me to pay more taxes and I demand accountability from you, you should be able to tell me, you should be able to account to me what those monies are meant for. In any case, he said that but for free SHS, 100,000 students wouldn't have been in school. I don't know why they continue peddling this falsehood.
Okay, so
when you say that,
but free SHS has come to stay. And I don't want us to use that as an example because it benefits Ghanaians.
We have a duty.
Yes, but the concerns for many is how much officials in office spend on themselves.
No, but we have a duty to properly inform and educate your viewing public. If you tell me, but for free SHS, 100,000 students wouldn't have been in school, you are being disingenuous.
Why do you say that? You are
assuming, but for free SHS, no one was going to.
But they would have had to pay for it.
Hold on. You are assuming, but for free SHS, no one would have been in school.
No.
Exactly. So 2016.
No.
2016, how many people wrote their final exams? So take away that number and tell us that but for free SHS, we have this addition. But when we say but for free SHS, 100,000, over 100,000 kids wouldn't have been in school. You are assuming that but for free SHS, no one was going to school.
No, people were going to school, but people were finding it difficult to fund their education.
No, the education I want us to
many people have
the
gone
education
to school.
I want.
As for that one, is no.
No one is. I'm saying that the education I want us to give, your viewing public. If you say but for free SHS,
okay,
over 100,000 people wouldn't have been in school. That is not honesty. Tell us that this was the number of students who were in school in 2016.
So
2017, this number increased. That's the point.
Give or take, people have benefited from free SHS. The Ghanaian benefit from that. So I don't want to. My concern.
I don't have any problem. In any case, President Nana Addo in this country on Peace FM said that Ghana was ripe for Arab Spring, and the only reason for which he made that statement was because of joblessness. Now, everybody knows Arab Spring was associated with toppling governments. It was associated with violence insurrections. Yet President Nana Addo said that nobody had any problem with it. Who is calling for coup? As a matter of fact, at the time when he said that Ghana was ripe for Arab Spring because of joblessness, unemployment rate in this country was 6.8. Today, by their own official document, presented to us in the form of a policy statement, by the Minister of Finance for and on behalf of this president, unemployment is 8.4 and youth unemployment is 12.6. If we want to go by the logic of President Nana Addo, when he made that statement, then we must have triple Arab Spring in Ghana. Nobody is saying that. In fact, our constitution vision or envisage the possibility of a coup. Our constitution. Because if the constitution says that you must do everything possible to confront any attempt to truncate the democratic process and overthrow the constitution, it means that the framers of the constitution also envisage that it will be a possibility. What is wrong if your house got burnt this year, the following year your house got burnt, and then the third year I am an expert like Professor Atuguba did and said, look, you better find water because you have experienced this before. So when there are signs that can occasion why you experience the two incidences, is he calling for coup? And in any case, this is an attempt to gag academic freedom because the MPP, they are masters in playing the man and not the ball. I remember when the same Professor Atuguba said about politics within the judiciary and the corruption within the judiciary, they went on him. Justice Georgina Wood herself then as the Chief Justice said there was corruption within the judiciary. As a matter of fact, the Afrobarometer of CDD points out that there is corruption within the judiciary. The moment any statement is made, the conclusion is that because that person has a tie, tell me one single professor who doesn't have a tie to one political party or the other. Okay, they may have ideological positions. So Professor Atuguba never said anything bad, and he even indicated that we do not want coup. He gave examples, and he is a research field. But I'm saying that we need to look at it in that perspective. Nobody is calling for coup, but the actions of this government and the deliberate attempt to disregard the views of people and trying to strangulate, free speech. When we live in a government who touts himself as a human rights lawyer, that is worrying, and that is the reason why people are raising this issue.
So I'll come to you, Professor Abdullah, and I'll give Stephen Amoah the last word.
I think if the inference is of what happened in Mali, in Guinea, in Burkina Faso,
there's Burkina Faso, yes. Guinea, Mali, which has been successful. Yes. There was
Guinea-Bissau.
I think Guinea-Bissau, which failed.
Yes.
Yeah.
If that inference is made from that, I don't think it's right because each country has its context and culture. So if you infer that in the case of Ghana, I don't think contextually it is right. However, one must also look at the fact that if you look at the developmental stages of most of these countries, and I've been there, I even speak French, I can tell you Ghana is way beyond that. Having said that, my issue is that nobody really wants a coup d'etat because, first of all, in the current digital environment that we are and a globalized environment that we are, it is going to impact our economy heavily. It will take years and years and years to recover because once some of the businesses leave, they're not going to come back. And I think also the brand Ghana is going to be damaged. But in any democracy, I think set talks needs to be listened to carefully and probably looked to. And
the warning.
Yeah, the warning signs. And I'm sure that research and people in the national security are on the ground with their ears on the ground. And hopefully, if anything like that should happen, I think both parties have agreed that coups is not the way forward.
If there's coup today, myself and my brother, we all have to.
And I think the Speaker of Parliament mentioned that any time that happens, it's the legislature that suffers because it's usually dissolved and the other arms stay. Dr. Amwa, you have the final word.
I think, just as Doc said, coup is something that all of us, it shouldn't even be in our vocabulary because there is no justification. Thank you.
Well, then let me use this time, the time left. No, let me use that time.
Okay.
You see, and I thought we were going to look at Ukraine and the challenges the young people of this country and many other parts of the world are going through. We have had reports of some of our students who are back.
The Ukraine? No, we're coming to look at that. I'm ending this segment.
Okay, I thought
I'm ending this segment.
On the E-Levy,
yes, so you can just wrap up.
On the E-Levy thing, to be very honest with you, and I want to reiterate our position. Me, Mutala, the sentiments I get from our constituency, and this resonates with many of our colleagues, and I want to repeat this. They can bath the E-Levy with all the perfumes in Arabia. We will not accept it. The most decent thing to do by this government, they should withdraw the E-Levy, get the stakeholder engagement like the NDC did with regards to VAT. You remember when there were a lot of demonstrations, some lost their lives, and demonstration was led by the current president. President Rawlings, what he did was that he withdrew it and continued with the engagement for another 2 to 3 years. There is absolutely nothing wrong. The reason why this thing is worrying is the revelation that was made in Parliament yesterday by the Minister of Roads when he said that they were going to securitize
the revenues.
And for me, that is a danger. So that what they intend to do, let's use it. Let's get our money, do the things we want to do. Then after 2024, President Ronaldo wouldn't be the president of Ghana. Whether NDC or MPP, party wins the election, he is no more there. And that burden will be on the people of this country. I think that this government, for once, should listen to the sentiments of the people of this country. More so when you have several researches and surveys that are indicative of the opposition of the people of this country to it.
All right, and that's where we end this segment here on the key points. Many thanks to our guests for taking us through this. We'll be right back after this break and we'll address the issues relating to the Ukraine-Russian conflict and government's evacuation response. We'll be right back.